Which Greek god would you main if Olympus was an open world MMO? Today we're ranking the 12 most powerful deities. Let's climb the mountain. Number 12, Hestia. At number 12 we've got Hestia, goddess of the hearth, home, and that's kinda it. She was one of the original 6 Olympians born to Kronos and Rhea. But here's the thing, Hestia gave up her throne. When Dionysus wanted a seat at the big table, she stepped aside and said, "Nah, I'm good." Now she just kind of vibes by the fireplace, keeping the home fires burning. Literally, that's her whole job. Hestia's playstyle? Pure support build. 0 combat stats, max utility. She's the type of character you'd pick if you wanted to AFK farm peaceful gameplay. Hestia lands in tier 3 because she's powerful enough to be an Olympian, but she refuses to use that power. Pacifist runs are cool and all, but they don't top tier lists. Number 11, Demeter. At number 11 we've got Demeter, goddess of the harvest, agriculture, and seasonal depression. When Hades kidnapped her daughter Persephone, Demeter literally broke the game. She made crops stop growing, worldwide famine, permanent winter. Zeus had to force a compromise just to make the server playable again. So yeah, she's got power, but it's all tied to one emotional trigger. If you mess with her kid, she'll end the world. If you don't, she's just out here making sure wheat grows. But when her daughter was taken, Demeter's voice turned colder than winter itself. "Ignorant humans who lack the discernment to know your portion of good or ill." Demeter's playstyle? High utility, situational DPS, only overpowered when triggered. Glass cannon energy, but the cannon only fires when her daughter's involved. Demeter lands in tier 3 because her power is undeniable, but it's too conditional. She's a one mechanic boss, learn the pattern, and she's manageable. Hermes. At number 10 we've got Hermes, messenger of the gods, guide of souls, and the fastest character in Greek mythology. Hermes can move between the mortal world, Olympus, and the underworld instantly. He's the only god with full map access, no loading screens, no fast travel cooldowns. He also invented the lyre, stole Apollo's cattle as a baby, and conned his way out of punishment. Dude's a trickster with maxed out karma and speed stats. But here's the problem. Hermes doesn't really fight. He's the support character who makes everyone else's build work better. Hermes' playstyle? Max speed, max evasion, 0 damage. He's the scout who spots enemies, buffs your team, then dips before the party starts. Hermes lands in tier 3 because he's essential to the meta, but he's not the carry. You need him on your team, but you don't main him. Apollo. At number 9 we've got Apollo, god of the sun, music, prophecy, healing, and archery. Basically, he's the multi-class character who's spec'd into everything. Apollo can heal your party, buff your stats, see the future, and then one-shot you with a headshot from across the map. He killed the giant serpent Python when he was like 4 days old. That's not just talent, that's spawn camping the tutorial boss. But Apollo's got a weakness, his ego. He challenged Artemis to an archery contest and lost. He got roasted in a music battle with Marsyas, then got so mad he flayed the dude alive. Sore loser energy to the extreme. Apollo's playstyle? Jack of all stats. High in everything, master of nothing. Great for new players learning the game. Apollo lands in tier 2 because versatility is powerful, but not overpowered. He's the flex pick who fits any team comp and never gets hard countered, but he also never dominates. Reliable, not game breaking. Artemis. At number 8 we've got Artemis, goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and brutal no mercy revenge kills. Artemis is Apollo's twin sister, and she's better than him at the one thing he thought he was best at, archery. She never misses, ever. When the hunter Actaeon accidentally saw her bathing, she turned him into a deer and had his own dogs rip him apart. No warning, no second chances. When King Agamemnon bragged he was a better hunter, she stopped the winds and demanded he sacrifice his daughter. Artemis doesn't do proportional responses. She leads a squad of huntress nymphs who've all sworn off men forever. It's basically an elite guild with the strictest recruitment requirements in Greek mythology. Artemis' playstyle? Glass cannon sniper build. One-shot potential, 0 margin for error. She's the type to speedrun boss fights hitless or restart. Artemis lands in tier 2 because she's lethally effective in her niche, but she's still limited by her role. Snipers dominate at range, but close combat? Different story. Ares. At number 7, we've got Ares, god of war, bloodlust, and getting dunked on by everyone. Wait, hold up. Ares is the literal god of war. Why isn't he higher? Because he loses. A lot. Athena outsmarted him constantly. Heracles beat him in single combat twice. During the Trojan War, Diomedes, a mortal, stabbed him in the gut and made him run crying to Zeus. Even the Aloidae giants once captured Ares and stuffed him in a bronze jar for 13 months. The god of war got kidnapped and needed his stepmom to rescue him. The Greeks actually didn't like Ares much. They respected him as a force of nature, but they didn't worship him the way they did Athena, because Ares represents the brutal, mindless side of war, bloodshed without purpose. Ares' playstyle? Pure berserker build. Ares has max strength, max aggression, but zero strategy. Essentially, button mashing energy. Works in casual matches, gets destroyed in ranked. Ares lands in tier 2 because raw power only takes you so far. He's the muscle, not the mastermind. If you're vibing with this tier list, hit subscribe. Don't get exiled from the next drop. Hades. At number 6, we've got Hades, god of the underworld, death, and the most OP passive ability in Greek mythology. Hades doesn't have flashy powers like Zeus or Poseidon, but he controls where every single soul goes when they die. That's not just power, that's total in-game control. He's also the only god who's loyal to his wife. Persephone stays with him half the year willingly in most accounts. Dude's got emotional intelligence, a rare trait on Olympus. Plus, he controls infinite resources, literally all the riches under the earth, from precious metals to gemstones. Ancient Greeks called him Pluton, the wealthy one. And he's got Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog that makes sure no one leaves his realm unauthorized. The Greeks were so scared of Hades, they barely said his name. They used euphemisms instead. That's respect through fear. Hades' playstyle? Tank plus macro strategy. He's unkillable and controls the map. Hades lands in tier 2 because he governs the final destination, but he's not the one who sends you there. He doesn't need to win fights, Hades just waits for everyone else to die. Dionysus. At number 5, we've got Dionysus, god of wine, madness, and divine chaos. Basically, imagine Jack Black with superpowers. Terrifying and awesome. He was born twice, first from a mortal mother, then reborn from Zeus's thigh? He's half mortal, half divine, a god built to break boundaries. Dionysus wandered the world, spreading his cult, a movement built on wine, theater, and ecstatic freedom. Some know him as the god of debauchery. His female followers, the Maenads, could summon rivers of wine and tear bulls apart with their bare hands. Kings tried to ban his worship. That never ended well. When Pentheus mocked him, Dionysus lured the king into the woods and mind-controlled the women of Thebes to rip the man apart. When Lycurgus attacked him, Dionysus drove him insane until he ended up butchering his own family. When Argos refused him, he infected the city with such madness so deep the women killed their own children. That's the real Dionysus, a god who blurs pleasure and punishment until you can't tell them apart. Dionysus' playstyle? Status effect god, buffs allies with frenzy, debuffs enemies with confusion and fear. He conquers not by war, but by infection, turning sanity itself into his weapon. Every celebration risks becoming a massacre. One thing is certain, Dionysus is much more than just the party god. Here I am, Dionysus, Zeus's son, born with a bolt of lightning for a midwife. Dionysus lands in tier 2 because his power dissolves the line between joy and destruction. He doesn't conquer enemies, he creates mass hysteria. Athena. At number 4, we've got Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategic warfare, and always being 3 steps ahead. Athena is what Ares wishes he could be. Where Ares charges in screaming, Athena calculates, adapts, and dominates. She was born fully armored from Zeus's head, literally a tactical nuke with a plan. She beat Poseidon in a contest to become Athens' patron by offering an olive tree, economic sustainability, long-term resources, while Poseidon offered a saltwater spring. Cool flex, but completely useless. During the Trojan War, she guided heroes like Odysseus and Diomedes to victory. She even helped Diomedes wound Ares in combat. The goddess of wisdom made a mortal strong enough to stab the god of war. That's not just support, that's hard carrying through superior strategy. Athena's playstyle? Strategy plus combat hybrid. Thinks 5 turns ahead. She's the mid laner who farms, roams, secures objectives, and still has the highest KDA. Athena lands in tier 1 because she combines lethality with intelligence, and smart players always beat strong players. Poseidon. At number 3, we've got Poseidon, god of the seas, earthquakes, and unhinged levels of pettiness. Poseidon controls 71% of the planet. He can drown entire cities, summon tsunamis that erase coastlines, and trigger earthquakes just by stabbing his trident into the ground. The Greeks called him Earthshaker for a reason. He could literally collapse your city walls without ever setting foot on land. Poseidon said it himself in Homer's Odyssey Book 5. "I am Poseidon, Earthshaker, lord of the boundless sea." When Odysseus blinded his son, the Cyclops Polyphemus, Poseidon made him wander the ocean for 10 years. He also created horses, somehow, flooded Attica when he lost the Athens contest, and once chained up Laomedon's daughter to be eaten by a sea monster, because the king refused to pay him. Poseidon doesn't do proportional responses. You slight him, he destroys your bloodline. In the ancient world, sailors prayed to Poseidon before every voyage. Piss him off and you're not coming home. Poseidon's playstyle? AoE damage plus crowd control equals wipes entire teams. Zone control god. If you're near water, you're in his domain. Poseidon lands in tier 1 because controlling the oceans means controlling trade, travel, and survival. But he's not the final boss. Not. Zeus. At number 2, yeah, Deuce, we've got Zeus. King of the gods, ruler of the sky, and wait, why isn't Zeus number 1? Because Zeus didn't earn the throne through skill. He got it by lottery. After overthrowing the Titans, Zeus and his brothers drew lots for who rules what. Zeus got the sky, Poseidon got the seas, Hades got the underworld. Lucky draw. Don't get it twisted, Zeus is insanely powerful. He throws lightning bolts that can vaporize anything, mortal or immortal. He can shapeshift into literally anything, which he uses way too often for creepy reasons. He controls the weather, enforces cosmic law, and commands the other gods. But here's the thing. Zeus gets outmaneuvered constantly. Prometheus stole fire and gave it to humanity right under his nose. Hera, his own wife, tricks him regularly and even orchestrated a full rebellion against him once. Even mortals like Sisyphus have conned him into looking like a fool. Zeus has ultimate authority, but he's constantly getting checked by someone smarter or more cunning. To Zeus, mortals weren't victims, they were bad players complaining about the rules. Ah, how shameless the way these mortals blame the gods. From us alone, they say, come all their miseries, yet they themselves with their own reckless ways compound their pains beyond their proper share. Zeus's playstyle? High burst damage, vulnerable to crowd control and deception. Tons of power, but players who know the matchup can bait out his cooldowns. Zeus lands at number 2 because he's the king by title, but is he really the most deadly? The Fates, Moirai. At number 1, we've got the Fates. Not another chiseled god on steroids, not a giant or a titan. No, at the top of the pack, we have the Fates. The 3 Fates, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, spin, measure, and cut the thread of every life. Every single life, including the gods. When your thread is cut, you're done. No respawns, no second chances, no begging for mercy. Zeus can throw all the lightning he wants, but if the Fates decide his time is up, that's it. The gods feared them because the Fates represented something bigger than power, inevitability. You can't fight destiny. You can't negotiate with it. You can only accept it. The Fates don't pick sides, don't play favorites, and don't care about your accomplishments. Rich or poor, mortal or immortal, everyone gets the same treatment. The Fates' playstyle? Admin commands, literally control spawn timers and permadeath. They're not playing the game, they're running the server. The Fates land at number 1 because their power sits above even the gods. Every god, every hero, every mortal lives and dies by the thread they spin. Not even Zeus can plead for an extension. When your thread is cut, that's it. Game over. From Hestia's pacifist vibes to the Fates' literal control over your soul, Greek mythology spans thousands of years of humans trying to explain the unexplainable. These gods weren't just religious figures, they were story archetypes, power fantasies, and philosophical debates wrapped in epic battles and family drama. Their legends shaped Western storytelling, inspired countless games, God of War, Hades, Assassin's Creed, and still spark arguments about who'd win in a fight. So, which god would you main? The tactical genius of Athena? The unstoppable storm of Poseidon? Or the glass cannon precision of Artemis? Drop your pick in the comments. Let's settle this.